Hi, so we're the ECR committee, also sat along here, and Sophie, and we're going to present some stuff we've been doing over the last few years as part of the UK-ICN.
Yeah, so Isabel, maybe going to start. Just what is the ECR committee? I mean, it's pretty obvious what ECR stands for, but we are a committee within the UK-ICN, which really focuses on the early career researchers. And we are here to create a comfortable and supportive environment for literally us. Like, we are composed out of PhD students and postdocs. And we want to share ideas, share protocols, share difficulties, and just like create a network with amongst colleagues and peers, which is really like same age groups or same career steps where we can exchange and grow together. And we also provide a lot of opportunities for ECRs, like practice presentations, practice networking, practice sharing in a less intimidating environment because we trust amongst each other. And it's also integrated in the UK-ICN, so we all focus on the same studies and we are integrated in this bigger network, but we're just a more comfortable group amongst us. Who are we? I mean, you saw us a lot now, a couple of days or a couple of years, but just to go, I go from the slides. So we have Fede from the Russell Institute, we have Andrew from the Russell Institute, we have Caitlin, who just passed her Viva. We have Bobby from the University of Liverpool, we have Julia from the Pirbright Institute, we have Jonathan from Sunnybrook Research Institute in Canada, me from Canada, and Isabel. And with that, go on.
So over the years, we've hosted several events, two specific ECR conferences, one last year and one this week. And at both of them, we've had career sessions with a diverse panel of different careers to show careers outside of academia, but also careers you can do alongside academia to help boost people's CVs. And we've also provided ECRs with the opportunity to share their data and practice conference talks in a friendly environment, and also have the opportunity to ask questions around peers when they're not worried about being judged. We've also had networking events so we can get to know other ECRs in our field. So we've had 3 ECR networking dinners. So in 2023, 2024, 2 in 2024. And we also went for drinks before this.
Not today.
Not
Monday
today.
night.
Not immediately before. So the first event we organised was in 2023, and as you can see here, this is the original ECR committee. Aaron J stepped down about a year ago now, I think. Yeah, maybe a couple of years ago. And yeah, we organised a dinner in Slovenia with the help of the Slovenian delegates from the conference, which were incredibly helpful because we didn't know where to go at all. And yeah, it was nice. It's nice to get to know everyone and set up the network. And then in 2024, so we'd previously asked at the dinner if there was anything anyone would like from the ECR committee. And Bobby, who wasn't actually a committee member yet, wrote that she'd really like an ECR event. So we thought, okay, why not? How hard could that be? Turned out very hard, but we organised it and it was very successful. And we had lots of very interesting talks from PhD students and postdocs and things like that. And we had even some undergrads and master students there, which was great. And yeah, then we also had a social in the Victoria Rooms, which is where we had dinner this week as well. Yeah, and then last year we also went to the AGM and organised a dinner and drinks event before. And yeah, it was great to get to know everyone. And build friendships.
And then here on the first day, on Tuesday, we had another ECR conference, a whole day of talks. And before that, on Monday evening, the so-called drinks. And it was really nice to see that this group has become really close over the years, and people know each other, people interact with each other, and there are real friendships that formed. Mm-hmm. And for this conference, like a couple of days ago, I think this was really successful, and I think we got really good feedback. We had like 64 attendees, 22 institutions, 15 presentations, and 4 career panelists. And within the presentations, we also tried to diversify a little bit. So we had, for example, 2 methodology talks, one from Nuno about ClipSeq and one from Max about reverse genetics, because we had a lot of interest in those fields. And I think overall it was very helpful for everyone. And it was a lot of questions, a lot of feedback, a lot of discussions, even some collaborations forming out of it. So it was a really nice event. I think everybody agrees that this was really helpful for everyone.
So aside from our in-person events, we also organised a work in progress seminar series this year. And we've had 11 presentations delivered online, and we've had a wide range of career stages from first year PhD to new PI. And the aim of it was to be a safe space for presenting, to build on your skills, to practice presentations prior to international conferences, and to troubleshoot techniques. And also to learn about the career paths of other researchers, especially the new PI gave a nice, well, Harriet gave a nice presentation about her career path and how she got there, which I think is also helpful because you don't only want to focus on careers outside of academia, you also want to know how academics got to the position that they're in right now. So these are the speakers we've had. As you can see, lots of people who are currently in this room, if not everyone in this room, or maybe except Rob and Naz. But yeah, and we've had a wide range of talks that have spanned a wide range of fields, and also were quite a lot of them featured quite a lot of preliminary data and asked for advice on techniques and methodology, which was very helpful. So we'll now hand over to Caitlin and John, who are going to talk about the impact of the UK-ICN on ECR development. And again, congratulations, Caitlin.
Cool, thank you both. So yeah, like I said, we're going to just take you through some of the feedback we got from everything we've been doing over the last 3 years. It's already been covered, but we've hosted 4 ECR specific events since we started the committee in 2023. That includes kind of 2 dinners, one in Slovenia, one in Edinburgh, and then we had an ECR day and dinner in Liverpool last year, and another ECR day this year. And these are specific just for the ECR community to kind of create a nice, friendly, peer-orientated network. Event was a dinner in Slovenia for the AGM in 2023. We had 23 attendees from 6 institutes from 3 different countries. And this was just a casual dinner. We included an icebreaker. We had some nice bingo cards to make people mingle, to try and relax everyone, because networking can be a bit daunting. And we tried to collect some feedback in person. We were a new committee. We wanted to make sure that we were going to be planning events and that everyone wanted to attend, rather than just assuming what people wanted. Most of the feedback we got said that they were enjoying the relaxed dinner. Bobby really wanted a ECR dinner and formal. We all wanted to dress up essentially and network. Yeah, ball gown was mentioned. And several ECRs also said they would really be interested in attending an ECR specific conference. So we did that. Last year in Liverpool, we hosted 47 attendees from 15 different institutes from 4 different countries for an ECR-specific day. The aim of this day was that we wouldn't have any PIs, no professors. It would just be early career researchers to try and create a little bit more of a relaxed environment where people could give their first talks, not in a kind of like very high pressure international conference that sometimes people have to give their first talks in. We prioritised giving talks to people who hadn't given a talk before, and we also offered opportunities to chair sessions, as well as obviously giving posters and flash talks. We collected feedback through surveys. We only got 14 respondents on the survey, unfortunately, but that's kind of an ongoing issue we've had when trying to get feedback on these events. But the majority of our attendees were PhD students. Most had heard through personal recommendation, either through a committee member or a supervisor about this event. And half of the people who responded said that without a UK-ICN travel grant, they would not have been able to attend the event. We've also lifted some quotes that we took from the surveys that I think just kind of highlight what a successful event it was. So someone said that the opportunities to chair, present, network, and get involved in a variety of ways rather than just a 10-minute talk was a real big positive for them. People enjoyed the flash talks. They enjoyed the kind of the humor that we were able to include in like kind of asking questions in a bit more of a casual environment, and also the engagement with the talks. We were really pleased that everyone really engaged with every talk. People were asking questions in every session, and that was exactly what we set out to achieve. As well as that, people were coming up to us throughout the whole day as committee members, telling us what an amazing time they'd have, which was all we really wanted, to be honest. They kept saying it was the best conference they'd ever been to. They really enjoyed it, and that they'd like another one, which at the time we were like, whoa, this was enough. But the people had spoken. So this year we organized another one, and we had even more attendees, 64 attendees from 22 different institutes and 5 different countries. This is feedback that is kind of ongoing, but so far we can see the majority of our attendees were postdocs and PhD candidates. And when asked if they'd formed a new connection as a result of being involved in the network, 87.5% said yes, which is amazing because we're trying really hard to try and understand actually what impact we're having on the ECRs. Some lifted quotes again. People really enjoyed that we'd also included some methods-focused talks. They enjoyed the diversity of the talks, and again, they enjoyed the friendly, supportive environment that they were able to give their presentation in. So overall, all our feedback so far has been really positive, both from surveys and in person. We're really proud of all the events that we've put on, and we feel like we've created a really nice network of ECRs. And I think the fact that this committee has grown to the size that it is just testament to kind of the inclusion that we're doing here. So I'm going to turn over to John, who's going to talk about a work in progress seminar.
Thank you, Caitlin. So it's already been iterated before, but just to kind of contextualize why the work in progress seminar series was implemented was largely due to feedback from previous events. So the ECRs really wanted a more regular opportunity to share ideas in an informal setting with peers. And it's been said already, but to create that relaxed environment to share work, but particularly focusing on work that might not be necessarily completed. So uncompleted narratives, preliminary data, but also if you're struggling with something in the lab, an opportunity to talk with your peers and talk about troubleshooting through those issues. And so this was implemented earlier this year, and we collected feedback during each of these seminars. And in order to increase the feedback that we received, we also offered the opportunity to win a free attendance to the meeting that we're at today if you provided feedback and provided your email. So overall, we had pretty great responses, so 44 over the 5 seminars that we held. And these were actually really helpful because we got feedback in real time, allowing us to modify our work in progress seminar series as those feedback came back. So overall, the feedback was very positive, and they found the sessions very successful. There was some constructive feedback as well, including needing reminders beforehand that these seminar series were ongoing, and this was implemented immediately. And then more time and a change to the format of the seminar series. So more time to ask troubleshooting questions at the end, not necessarily like a structured presentation. And this was also implemented immediately. So some of the quotes that we took from the free form part of the survey included, I prefer the work in progress meetings to other types of meetings. It's interesting to hear research from early career researchers and also to be able to ask questions in a relaxed environment. And I enjoyed the casual nature of the discussions after the presentations. So it hasn't been directly mentioned yet, but it will be talked about a little bit more in depth later. The UK-ICN does provide early career research funding, and there's 3 different types of grants, but I'm not going to go into those just now. It'll be talked about in the next section. But as a part of the funding that individuals received, we asked to submit a testimonial or a case study about how the funding actually impacted you and your career. So we received 48 case studies from individuals who received funding from the UK-ICN. But in a way to assess the impact and really see how these funding opportunities impacted these ECRs, I wanted to conduct a thematic descriptive analysis. So I generated a word cloud based on all of these 48 case studies. And so this will actually help us contextualize the importance of this funding a little bit more. And so when we look at this word cloud, the larger the word, the more frequent it was mentioned in these case studies. So other than the obvious UK-ICN, front and center, some of the major words that came up were conferences, research, opportunity, future, network, both in the context of UK-ICN network, and networking, as well as work, which meant both work as in their research or work as in enabled them to do their work. So this really emphasizes that these grants provided short-term benefits to ECRs in their ability to advance their research and their networking in their careers, regardless of the funding type. The next bit is a little bit more anecdotal, but a lot of these experiences came from our committee before we joined the committee, and actually likely led us to join the committee. So what we couldn't get out of the testimonials was how are these networking events actually happening, or what connections have been made, and what are the tangible results coming out of those. So these are some anecdotal from our own team, but then we also do have an instance from one of the other ECR members. So one of these includes Fede. This was in 2024 for the ECR Day, where the ECR committee invited him to talk because he has a podcast, the Viral Talk podcast. And at this day, he interviewed Bobby, who's also on our ECR committee. But what this resulted in was a podcast episode that was directly derived from that early career research day. And Bobby is now a co-host of the podcast, but also both of them were driven to join the ECR committee. Next was at the NITO conference. Isabel was or still is a ECR committee member, but met Andrew, and the connection that they developed through this conference drove Andrew to join the ECR committee. So a non-ECR committee perspective, Rebecca Penrice Randall collaborated with and published through UK-ICN Connections, and that publication is shown here if you're interested in seeing it. So my own personal experience, I was able to host Caitlin with my supervisor, Dr. Samira Mubareka in Canada, where she came through one of the funding opportunities to stay for a month with us. And this actually has initiated an ongoing collaboration that we're still to this day working on. And so we're really excited to keep that collaboration going. And then lastly, not related, but in late 2023, there was a joint lab meeting between the Mubareka lab and Dallin Bailey's lab, where I was introduced to Jules. And through that, we were able to collaborate, and we now have a publication as shown on the screen here. So I hope that can show a little bit more, in addition to that word cloud, showing the actual tangible connections that were developed, and in some cases, output from those connections that were generated. And then lastly, some more personal committee experiences. We were able to make really great connections and collaborations. We had great experiences as committee members. It was honestly really, really fun. We got insights into how a consortium operates, and this was really important, especially for those of us who want to go on and become PIs. And there was a sense of a reward for contributing to the ECR committee that we are still a part of. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to Bobby and Andrew.
Thanks, John. So one of the great elements of the funding that the UK-ICN has had has been the opportunity to fund ECRs to undertake travel or research through grants. So just to go over the three types of funding that have been available to ECRs over the years, the first is research funding in order to fund ECRs to do research. So 7 ECRs have been funded over the last few years, including research that has led to output, including book and paper publications. And the benefits of granting ECRs specific funding to conduct research allows ECRs to develop their abilities in leading research and developing their professional curiosity, as well as developing their publication records. And secondly, and the most popular form of ECR funding that has been used has been the travel funding, which I'm sure many of the ECRs in this room have had access to and have used to attend various things. So 88 ECRs in total have been funded to travel, and these include to UK and international conferences, including UK-ICN AGMs, so as the Nidovirus Conference in 23, ASV and Microsoc, among others. And this funding has allowed ECRs to present their work, to develop professional networks, and to develop their skills in presentation as well. And the final form of funding available was the knowledge exchange funding. Now, 3 ECRs were funded to do this, including Caitlin. I've never forgotten your name before. That's very embarrassing. Including Caitlin, to visit other labs and other institutes to conduct research projects, and again to develop skills, research skills, as well as fostering new collaborations. So part of what we wanted to do today was to invite people up who have received this funding. So I'd like to welcome the first speaker, and I'll hand over to Bobby.
Hi, yeah, so our first speaker is Dr. Hannah Goldswain from the University of Liverpool, who is going to talk to us a little bit about her lab exchange from funding from the UK-ICN.
Hello, everybody. Yes, so I received some funding from the UK-ICN to go on a laboratory exchange with the viral glycoproteins group at the Pirbright Institute with Dallin and Naz and Joe Newman as well. So this was based on some of my work in my PhD, where I was identifying mutations in a transmission cluster of immunocompetent individuals who had SARS-CoV-2. And the next steps were to sort of look at the genotype to phenotype consequences of these. And so through connections at the UK-ICN, we got in contact with the Pirbright Institute and Dallin and went off to learn how to generate pseudovirus particles and then how to apply these through fusion assays and neutralization assays as well. So I spent a week down in Pirbright, funded by the UK-ICN, and it was a great week. It was great to experience working in a different lab, in an institute rather than a university, and it allowed me to form new connections and in future collaborations as well. We've continued the work in Liverpool, and we also work with MERS. So Rachel, a current PhD student in the lab, has been also generating pseudovirus particles for MERS as well. So we're continuing this work. Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. So the second testimonial from the ECR funding is our own John. So John.
Hi, it's me again. So I wanted to talk about my experience with this travel award. What I was able to do was take my research that I mentioned on a couple slides ago and present it at the World One Health Congress in Cape Town, South Africa. So at the time I was at this conference, not only was it an incredibly beautiful location, but I was actually writing the manuscript for this paper. So what I was able to do through this was talk to other researchers researching very similar things across the globe. And what that helped me do was realize I'm actually not going insane. Things are actually incredibly hard and challenging in bat coronavirus research. And so that was, you know, a little bit of a sanity check, but also to enrich the discussion that I was writing at the time. So it was really interesting to be able to see other people's research, talk about my own research in an international setting. But then also, as I came back home and reflected on my experience, I really liked the fact that the UK-ICN enabled me to do this. And so a month later, I joined the UK-ICN Early Career Research Committee. So I'm always down for a shameless plug, so I'm just going to put this back up here. If you'd like to see it, it is a result of a collaboration through the UK-ICN, although not directly related to this UK-ICN travel award. So thank you so much for allowing. Thank you.
Okay, and our final speaker for this segment is somebody that I've met quite a few times at these conferences now, and it's been really lovely to see her confidence grow over each attendance and present work going from a poster to a full oral presentation at our ECR day on Tuesday. So it's Charlotte Parker from the University of Nottingham.
Hi, thank you. Oh, let me change the slide, that'll be helpful. Hi, yeah, I'm Charlotte. I'm from the University of Nottingham, and I first heard about the ICN as I started my PhD, and I went to my first event 3 months into starting my PhD, and I met these wonderful lot, and it was a really welcoming introduction into the coronavirus world. And since then, I've really valued attending other ECR events and other AGMs. So I've been really thankful for the funding to attend the AGM in Liverpool, this one, and in Edinburgh. And it's been so fantastic to meet other researchers that are working in similar areas as me and get to know them. One particular highlight is meeting Tare, whose work I'm following on from for my PhD I hadn't met before. So it's been an absolute joy to meet you and hear more about your work and how well you're getting on at the APHA. And it's been fantastic to build those networks amongst other institutions as well. So I've been really, really thankful for that. And then the new ideas that come out of chatting to other people, which I think is so important, and sharing ideas and being open about what's working and what's not working, and realising that the coronavirus PhD world is actually a friendly place, and there are people there that want to help you and you want to help them. So it's been really great. Thank you so much for the money.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you to our speakers for coming up and sharing their stories with us today. So as you guys can see, that the funding has been really beneficial to us for growing our relationships and growing our confidence in presenting our work. I've had a really great time with the network over these last 4 years, and it's going to be a shame that it's not continuing. When I first started, I was really nervous talking to anyone, but you know, now I've found myself approaching PIs and asking questions, and my confidence is growing, and it is all thanks to this network. So thank you very much. And we're going to move on to our next session, which is with Julia and Federico.
Okay, so unfortunately, it's a bit not so nice. I mean, this has been lovely, but now we also put some slides about the challenges that we face and how we try to overcome them. So this is what we achieved in the last 3 years. Again, sorry if you some numbers. So right now we have more than 200 ECR members. We organize 6 online seminars. And as has been explained before, we provide 3 types of financial support. Look more at numbers. This is some data Lisa provided to me. You can see how much money has been invested in ECR through the years. And here 3 was last year, 2024. And you see a lot of events is because we organized the ECR day in Liverpool and a dinner. So there was a lot, but as you can see, a lot has been invested in grants, which include traveling grants. So that's been really good. And in total, around 80K has been invested in ECR career development. And we try to provide networking support. So as has been already said, we organize ECR days, ECR dinners, a lot of opportunities to connect. So after all these events, we were asked to provide feedback, because at the end of the day, we need to justify spending this money, and we have to be sure, we have to be held accountable for the money we spend and what's the outcome of it. And to what we were not sure about, and we struggle, personally I struggled, was what does feedback look like, especially at the level of ECR. It's really hard to show impact sometimes, because a lot is about providing opportunity to present or to network that will have an outcome in years. In good cases where we publish paper, but it's not always so straightforward. So we worked a lot to try to come up with good questions, try to engage people to give us feedback, and try to be held accountable. So this is some of the example, like how would you rate an event? How do you feel this was beneficial for you? But I think we struggle sometimes to respond to the question, how do we measure impact and what does it mean impact for ECR? And I think it would have been useful for us to have be more guided about what type of feedback was expected from us. Yeah, but there is also some positives. Sorry, yeah.
Thank you, Joe. That was amazing to follow that up. So one thing that, I mean, we've been researched multiple times that we want to gather as much information as possible to relay to the funding bodies for future endeavors, say a UK-ICN 2.0, which would be very exciting. And but one thing that we immediately hit as a roadblock was the fact that approximately 30% of attendees to all our events have provided feedback, which is useful, but it's not that much. It's only a third. So a lot of time that we spend trying to fix that and coming up with ways to increase the amount of answers that we would get after our many questionnaires. And we came up with ideas such as random prize draws or gamifying feedbacks in real time, so to make it more engaging, posters and talk prizes, which have not been a feature of the UK-ICN so far, but maybe in the future this could be implemented as well. It may be useful. Or one other thing, this was actually ChatGPT, I think, that actually reminded us was that one good way to invite people to give us feedback is to show how we use that feedback, we implement it in real time. And in fact, we actually we have been working round the clock to try and do that after every single event and every single seminar that we've done. And in particular, one thing that we focused was the suggestions that we received from the other ECRs. And things that were suggested by other researchers, even here in this room, were things like technical seminars and workshops on specific aspects of our research, or implementation of a consumable budget for lab visits for the future. It would be nice to have that type of financial cushion. Or also the presence of more interdisciplinary networking, so allowing like real hardcore wet lab scientists to get and mingle with social scientists. And I think that even today, the panel that we had this morning was actually fantastic. It was a good example of that. Not that we had anything to do with. And then one thing that also came up quite often was also some people would have liked the opportunities for broad public engagement. So if we were ever thinking about UK-ICN 2.0, maybe it would be cool to like establish a common way for us to have like, say, a coronavirus day across institutions funded by the UK-ICN, so that we can talk to the public about what coronaviruses are, why they're important, why do we keep researching on them. But as I said, this is positive. This is the positive bit. So we actually wanted to share some of the wins that we've already implemented. So we actually had 2 technique focused talks, which was very, very welcome during our ECR day this year. One on reverse genetics talk from Dr. Max Erdmann, which is here, he's over there, and one from on iClip from Dr. Nuno Santos from the Crick Institute, which were all very useful because they allowed us to learn about the science, learn about the techniques, and not just about the results. And actually, another one, which is a random prize draw, because we actually delivered on our promises, they did fill up our feedback form at the end of the day, which is Dr. Drew Dowder is over there and is actually here for free. So thank you. This actually is like the end of our session. Thank you for listening to us yap, and thank you for the team, because this is an amazing fucking team. Sorry about the swearing, but it was great. And yeah, these are actually some quotes from us. Sorry? Yeah, and also, of course, the most important bit, thank you to the UK-ICN Directorate and Secretariat, such Lisa, Jill, they've been fantastic. We've been meeting month in, month out, sometimes week in, week out, to organize all these things. So without them, this would not be possible. And thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Veg. So we didn't tell anybody we were going to do this, but we realized that we would not take up the hour that was scheduled in the program, and we were thinking about how best to use that extra time. So what we would love to do would be to open the floor to other ECRs who are in the room to share their experiences, their thoughts as ECR members of the UK-ICN. I really hope the room isn't silent. So if there's anybody who has anything burning that they would love to share, Otherwise, I can start. I mean, I just want to say that being a member as an ECR of the UK-ICN has probably given me the best opportunities to network within my field in the UK. I've met people who I probably wouldn't have otherwise met, forged connections, forged friendships, and if the UK-ICN hadn't been happening, hadn't been running, you know, I feel it's kind of chance luck really that it was happening over the time that I was a PhD student. I'm a PhD student still for another 2 months. Then, you know, I wouldn't have had these connections, networks. I wouldn't have had access to people who know a lot more about me in some things. So it's been incredibly valuable, and I'm sure that that's not a unique experience either.
Well, I mean, I can say just thank you for the support that I've received. Unfortunately, I haven't managed to participate in all the events, and I'm also not probably at a very early stage of my career. But I would say that is due a big thank you to all the committee at this point. And I think that this is a very encouraging way to push very young scientists to get together. Basically, look a bit also the example we have in our more consolidated scientists that really show a good deal of collaborations and support with each other. So I think, yeah, what I would just want to say is a big thank you. And I think this is for the follow-up and just the ground for further things.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to the entire committee. I couldn't have asked for a better setting to give my first talk, and it was really great to get the feedback. And I've met so many people that have given me great ideas for my project, and I'm really looking forward to working with them as well. And I'm really sad it's the only ICN conference I've been able to attend, but it's been great.
Who forced her to do that?
Otherwise, I think I might have perished from those glares. I'd just like to say, like, I think in UK-ICN 2.0, I would love to see a public engagement arc going on there, as I would like to pursue that as my career, and especially with the ECR talks we've received this year and last year. It's very kind of solidified my decision to do that. And a shameless plug, I'm actually doing an antiviral roller skating show for the British Science Festival. So if anyone wants to see interpretive dance of coronavirus life cycle and drug discovery, come back to Liverpool in September. Thank you so much, committee and the organisers and the directorate as well. This has run through the whole duration of my PhD, and from what Ikshita said, like, I feel really sorry that this has been your first one, because it's such an inviting environment to be in, and it's been amazing to have it throughout my whole PhD journey as well, echoing what Bobby has said. So yeah, amazing work, guys.
Well, thank you for indulging us. Well, with that, then I would just like to sign off by saying again, thank you to the UK-ICN Directorate and Secretariat for giving ECRs the space within the network to really be independent and to form connections, develop our skills through things such as our ECR events and our seminar series. It's been incredibly valuable, and well done to all of these guys as well for the time and effort that we've put in. So thank you very much for listening to us.